We are back. We are back. Are you guys ready to unstuck yourself? I know I am for sure. I can find myself getting stuck more times than I'd like. And, it got to a point where I wanted to know and hear from all of you that I actually posted a forum with a question on some of my social media platforms. What stops you? What stops you? And the answers that I got back, the responses were massive. And it was just so cool to see everybody coming together and just sharing their truth and being vulnerable and honest and just putting it out there. And as I started to look at the answers to the question, what stops you, there was a lot of repeat offenders. So I picked the top 5, and that's what we're going to address in this podcast today is the top 5 excuses, as I like to call them, to what stops us. So hear me out here. So feeling stuck is one of the most common feelings I hear from the people that come to me for guidance. They feel stuck in a body they don't like. They feel stuck in a job that's going nowhere. They feel stuck in a relationship that brings them no pleasure, or they feel stuck that they're never going to be in a relationship. They feel stuck in what direction to take. They feel stuck in their finances, their goals, their life. Every day feels like the same day. They lack motivation, or they have no desire to do anything, or just the thought of doing something, just the thought of actually even getting out of bed or taking a shower is just exhausting. Then I hear the labels. They label themselves with words like, I'm depressed, I'm an introvert, I'm highly sensitive, I'm shy, I'm not creative, I'm not outgoing, I'm not. It's no wonder why we feel stuck when we give ourselves every reason to feel stuck. What stops you? What areas in your life have you felt stuck or maybe are currently feeling stuck right now? Do you feel stuck with lack of purpose? Do you feel stuck with no motivation? Do you feel stuck in your body, your health? Is your health stopping you? Maybe it's your job. Maybe it's your finances. Maybe it is the relationship, or you're lacking clarity, or maybe you just feel stuck in life in general. You just feel stuck. No matter where you feel stuck, the only way to get unstuck is to move forward. Now, I know that sounds simple. So how do we move forward, right? If the only way to get unstuck is to move forward, but yet you don't know what direction to take because you're just like, I just got done telling you, I don't know what to do. I don't know what my why is. I don't know what my purpose is. I'm lacking clarity. I have no energy. I'm not feeling motivated. I have no inspiration. I'm depressed. I'm highly sensitive. So I don't like rejection. I fear criticism, whether it be constructive or not. I'm shy, so I can't put myself out there. I don't want to be rejected. I'm not very creative. How do I unstuck myself? Well, one thing that I have found that I've learned from my own personal experience, as you know, everything I share in these podcasts are something that I have gone through and have come out the other side. So I bring to you my own personal experiences of what I have done to get unstuck and what I witness along my journey. And I share with you the people that I have formed an alliance with and added into my group circle. And I share their experience and what they've done so that everything that I bring to you is basically proven to work if you work it. And you might not get the exact same results, but I can guarantee you that if you apply some of these things, you will see these little shifts start taking place that put you in a different mindset, that put you in a different position, and allow you to experience things differently. I have found that no matter how many self-help books I read, no matter how many motivational speeches I listened to, or 3 or 4 day workshops that I attended, no matter how healthy I ate, no matter how many times I worked out or did my yoga practice or my meditation practice, until I was able to truly get to the root cause of whatever it was that was keeping me stuck, those things wouldn't last long. Like, we can get inspired to change, but if you're anything like me, it didn't last long. I can get motivated to move, but it didn't last long. I could read some books and hear some things, but unless I actually started looking deeper within and seeing what it was that was keeping me stuck, those books meant nothing. They collected dust. I didn't apply the knowledge that was given. I can eat all the healthiest of foods, but if I am internally sick, not physically, but mentally, all the healthy organic broccoli isn't going to help me. I can go work out and do the thing, but until I uncover the root cause of my symptoms for why I am stuck, even that's not going to last long. I mean, how many people sign up for a gym membership beginning of the year, setting these resolutions, and then fizzle out in the first couple weeks? I think I've actually shared that in a podcast before. How many diets are out there now? I mean, that industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry because they're thriving while we're trying to survive. They're not sharing the secret of what we need to do and grow through to where a diet will actually work and stick. Right? So we have to unstuck ourselves, and no matter what we do, if we don't get to the root cause of our symptoms and once and for all heal from that, we'll never recover and we'll never be able to unstuck ourselves completely. And so that's where this fun little thing comes into play, where we have to actually take a deeper dive within. You knew I was going to say that, right? Because that's what I'm all about, is that inner healing work. The inner healing work that empowers us, connects us to our inner healer, our inner guru, and address some of these unsafe beliefs that we have been labeling ourselves with. Even if it's anxiety, like I can get very anxious when things seem to be going south, going in a direction that I don't want them to be, where I used to just quit and I would give up. And then I had to ask myself, what is that about me? Why do I feel that way? And I had to go look a little deeper behind the feelings that I was feeling as why I would give up when I started to feel the anxiety. And it came from a place when I was younger, when I would change schools and try to make friends and put my best outfit on and smile and be friendly. And I would feel so anxious, and I would show up and then I would get rejected by the kids. So then I started to give up trying to even put myself out there because I didn't like the rejection. That feeling that I would feel, that emotion that came with it, that I hung on to, that my subconscious mind hung on to my grown-up self would relate that feeling, that emotion in today's situation to that young little fifth grader. So I was having to go back to fifth grade, look at her and love her, and realize that what I am feeling today is not the same as what I was feeling in that place. The emotions, though, felt the same, right? I had to address those things. I had to look at that and ask some hard questions. And I'm going to go over some of those questions for you. And we're going to get into this a little bit more because I can't wait to help you maybe realize some things that you're labeling yourself with, thinking that you can't do the things that you want to do, that your excuses control you. And we're going to try to address those a little bit more and a little bit more. So back to no matter where you feel stuck, the only way to get unstuck is to move forward. That nothing will work until you do. No diet, no exercise, no vision board, no relationship. Nothing's going to work until you do. So we have to water the root to enjoy its fruit. We have to take care of us and heal us first. Now, all those things are great and they're wonderful to add to your practice. I'm a huge promoter of meditation and yoga. I mean, that is what I do. The emotional yoga fitness practice that I give every day is based off of this work. The empowerment coaching that I do is based off of this kind of work. That once we can get to this root cause behind our excuses that we're allowing to have power over us, to work through those so that we can start to truly benefit and enhance and transform through all of these practices. So these practices are still good to do even while we're doing this work. I don't mean to discredit any of those things, but I'm just trying to say we can't just do those things and think our life is going to go into alignment and balance and we're going to find our nirvana. There is some inner work, right? We have to weed out the junk that is keeping us sick and keeping us stuck. So the first thing to do when it comes to moving forward is you start by investing in you. This is where the self-worth comes in, building confidence, self-compassion, and loving yourself for the journey you're on, loving your past self for who and what they had to do to get to where you are today. We know that we can't solve our problems with the same mindset that created them. In order for us to do better and be better, we have to know better. And in order to know better, we have to walk through the storm because the answers are waiting in those lessons. So we have to walk through the storm, get to the eye of the storm, sit in it, and do a little bit of reflection and start challenging our limited belief mindset. Start challenging the thoughts that we think and backing up even that. Stop, not the thoughts that we think, as I've learned from the Brene Brown Atlas of the Heart. It's not the thoughts, it's the emotions tied to the thought. The emotions come first, and then the thought, and then that limiting belief, and then our behavior and our actions, right? So the emotions come first. I love when she said, we're not thinking beings, we're emotional beings. You've heard her say, like, we're wired for connection and all of that kind of stuff. We are emotional beings. And I just, I can share, I had an emotion come over me the other day where I felt unseen. I felt unappreciated. I felt not good enough in what I was doing. Somebody that I definitely value and care about very much, I felt that they just weren't getting me. And what did that do? That gave me an emotion that was that not 5-year-old, but that girl that was in 5th grade all over again. And I went there and I was like, oh my gosh, this sucks. It was an emotion that came over me, and then the thoughts, those negative thinking thoughts that came with it. And luckily now, because I've been practicing this long enough, I can rebound and recover a lot quicker than I used to and not go down that rabbit hole. I was able to sit there and go, okay, what are you feeling? What happened that made you feel this way? What emotions are you tying to this? The rejection. Where did this show up for you before? How did it turn out? Where are you in this moment today? Is it true? No, it's not true. As we know, a lot of things that happen to us, life is happening for you, not to you. And when people show up in your life, that's their journey, that's their experience, that's their belief. You let them have their journey, you have yours. So when people are coming to you and reacting in a way that you're not ready for, that you didn't expect, or maybe it offended you or hurt you, that's you, that's your journey, and that is their journey. They're two separate things. So I had to realize that that person was coming at me with their own experiences that made them feel and react a certain way. And just because they felt that, that does not mean that I have to own it as my truth. So I was able to work through that, love them where they were, revalidate where I'm at, love myself up, see myself, and go, you've got this. This is your experience. I was able to see and love my journey from where I was to where I am right now. And I was able to look at that problem, if you will, with a different mindset instead of going back to that girl in 5th grade and giving up and saying, okay, you're right. I was able to see my value, see my worth, and not let somebody else's opposite opinion of it challenge me to the point that I was going to give up. See, every struggle, every obstacle has shaped you into the person you are becoming and the person you are today. Failure is the roadmap to success. So when I look at some things that may come into question along my journey, and people might see it as I'm not succeeding or I'm not living up to whatever it is that they think that I should be, I don't see it as failure. I see it as this roadmap to success, that every day that I show up, I'm either winning or I'm learning. As Nelson Mandela said, that he doesn't lose. He either wins or he learns, right? I just love that so, so much. And mistakes don't define us, they refine us. So every time as we're going through these things and we feel like we're making mistakes and that we are a mistake, you're not a mistake. The things that you did, may not have turned out the way you wanted, but it refined you and you learned from it, right? So we don't want to make a habit of choosing what feels good over what is good for you. And we want to know the difference between a good habit and a bad habit is that good habits are easy to break. These little things are helpful little, oh goodness, mind boosters when we're starting to have these mental blocks and allowing these mind viruses to interfere with our feelings and our emotions that then turn into the thinking behind them. We need to remember you see, every struggle and obstacle, it has shaped you into the person you are becoming and the person you are today. Every struggle and obstacle that we have gone through, it is shaping us into the person that we are today. So the question, what stops you? The question, what stops you, that I brought to the table and people responded to, the top five questions that came, or the answers, excuse me. So I talked about the all of that. So the top 5 answers to my question, what stops you? What stops you from doing the thing? The number 1 answer, I'm too busy. The second answer, I'm too old or too young. The third one was, I don't have the money. My finances aren't where they need to be. The fourth answer was my health. My health is stopping me. And the fifth answer was they were afraid of failure. Failure and fear and failure. Oof, man. I tell you, I have to say, okay, all of these are excuses to a deeper rooted condition. And in order to recover from said condition, we have to get to the root cause, right, of the symptom. In order to recover from the symptom and once and for all unstuck ourselves, we have to get to the root cause of the condition that is creating this mind virus in the first place. I'm too busy. I'm too old. I don't have enough money. My health. I'm afraid of failure. Now, I'm not saying that your health can't be stopping you, for sure. But it's a mindset. We need to change our perspective. My favorite Wayne Dyer quote, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Man, he was good. He had so many. And I'm actually going to be dropping some more Wayne Dyer stuff into this, but it's so true. We can't solve our problems with the same mindset that created it. Yes. So we're going to challenge these 5. So we're going to challenge these 5 mind viruses that I'm going to call them now. Like I said, Wayne Dyer, he did has a book, Excuses Be Gone, and then he did a lecture in Maui that I bought on CD years and years and years ago, over 20 years ago, that I just loved, and it just stuck with me. I've always been so obsessed with our emotional thinking, limiting belief behaviors. No wonder I'm doing what I do today. But anyways, we're going to challenge these 5 mind viruses to some of the questions that he asked his people that were at this live lecture of Excuses Be Gone. And we're going to check some stuff out. But before we do that, I want to ask you a question. What does being stuck mean to you? What does being stuck mean to you? And what has being stuck cost you? Because a lot of times we won't change our circumstances until they become so uncomfortable, so unbearable that we just can't take it anymore. We're so tired. We're so sick and tired of being sick and tired. We can't wake up another day feeling the way we feel, but we just don't know where to start. We don't know how to heal. So the question is, what does being stuck mean to you, and what has being stuck cost you? Has it cost you your peace of mind, your fulfillment of life, time, love, energy, failing health? You know, growth is painful, change is painful, but nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong. And that quote came from a lady named Mandy Hale. I came across that when I was finishing up some of my research for this podcast, and that, man, that stuck with me. Growth is painful, change is painful, but nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong. I know for me, that was so, so true as I went through my inner healing work and addressed these weeds that were completely taking over my mind garden. They were infiltrating, I can't even say the word. They were completely taking over every part of my life. And once I was able to identify the weeds and pull those suckers out and plant them with these healthy, nourishing, enriching bulbs that I could plant and water and fertilize and grow and watch them sprout these new, beautiful, lovely leaves and flowers, that I was able to see and feel what this quote means. Growth is painful. Going in and pulling out those weeds, that was painful. Change was painful. Changing the way that I had to look at my life and question the thoughts that I was thinking, that was painful because I used to hold that on as my identity and as my truth and who I was. I had to look at that, challenge it, and let it go because it was no longer serving me. It was hurting me. That was painful. And then I became this person that I was like, whoa, but living a life that was the opposite of it, right? I was coming into and evolving into this person, but still living the way that I was before, surrounding myself with people in a job that wasn't fulfilling me, not really changing my behaviors, and knowing that I was made for more and I was wanting to grow and evolve, and I was like dealing with all this stuff, and I was just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? This is painful. There's nothing more painful than staying stuck somewhere you don't belong. And that's when I had to embrace the uncomfortable even more and make some serious changes in my life so that I could continue to grow. And these questions that Wayne Dyer brought to these people at this live lecture on Excuses Be Gone, man, they are things I looked back at my journal that I kept from over 20 years ago, and I used them to apply to these top 5 excuses or mind viruses that came to me in that forum when I asked, what stops us? And the questions are this. So if you have been listening to this podcast and you started to write things down, awesome. If you haven't yet, I strongly encourage you to either stop this podcast right now and go get a notebook and answer these questions. What does being stuck mean to me? And what has being stuck cost me? Because we need to see and feel and accept and acknowledge and embrace what being stuck has cost us, to the point where we're like, you know what? No more. I am ready to change. I no longer want to feel the way I feel. And I know that what I'm thinking is not serving me, it's hurting me. I need to question and challenge these thoughts. So grab your notebook, write those questions and answer those questions. And then write out, what is stopping you? What is preventing you from doing the thing? Did you come up with any of the 5 that were the most popular 5? I mean, hello, this came from every platform, from Facebook, Instagram, my website, direct messaging, emails, TikTok. All these people from all over the world, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. The top 5 that majority of the people from all over the world came to me with was, I'm too busy, I'm too old, I don't have the money, my health, and I'm afraid of failure. Those were the top 5. Maybe one of those speaks to you, and if not, you write yours down. We're going to go through these together. You're going to take your first one. You're going to say it out loud. What is your excuse? What's stopping you? Say it right now. What's stopping you? And the first question to that, is it true? And I'm going to play off of the top 5. Is it true? So the first one, I'm too busy. Is it true? Well, yeah, I'm too busy. I get up in the morning and I'm having to take care of the family, get them off to school. I'm having to go to work. I work a full-time job. It's very stressful. And then I get home and I got to make dinner and I got to help the kids with their homework. And then I'm just so exhausted that I just can't do anything else. And I fall asleep and I pass out. So yeah, I am too busy. Okay. Is it true? Yes, 100% true. There's nothing that you could do in your day to shift a little bit to allow 20 minutes for you to sit and do some meditation. Where could you carve out some time? Well, you said in the morning you're too busy getting the kids ready for school because you're making them lunches. Well, maybe you make the lunches before you go to bed. Or maybe you let them have school lunch a couple days a week to where you're not having to do that. What can you do in your day? How much time during work do you have for breaks? Do you get an hour lunch? You should. Could you use some time during your lunch break to do some journaling? Where can you take and carve time out of your day to make some time for you? Even if it's just 20 minutes. We have this like all or nothing mentality that if we can't do it 100% perfectly the way we envisioned it, then why bother doing it at all? Little do we realize that even just 5 minutes of doing something for you that will help you is more powerful than even 20. And you know why? It's because you made time for you. Because you actually stuck to your word and said you were going to do something, even if it was for 5 minutes. And before you know it, those 5 minutes felt so good and started building self-confidence in yourself and self-trust that now you're doing 10. And then you're doing 15. And before you know it, you're telling your employer, hey, you know what? I need a mental health day once a month. And you're taking that time for you. You're taking your lunch breaks now because you value your time. You value your health. You're investing in yourself so that you not only get to be a better person for you, you get to be a better person for other people. You start to see these changes happening. And it all started with just 5 minutes. So I'm too busy is not true because we know if we want it bad enough, we will figure out a way to make it happen. Right? So I'm too busy. We're throwing that out. It does not pass the sniff test. It is fake news. The second one, I'm too old. Too old for what? First of all, if your goal was to be Miss Teen USA and you're past your teen years, okay, well, maybe you're too old to be Miss Teen USA. But chances are you're not too old to do what it is that you want to do. You're never too old. I'm sure you've all seen those memes that have gone out there about people that have made a new life for themselves in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Become authors and painters and actors that have run marathons. There's so many things you can do at any age. You are never too old. That is not true. I don't have enough money. Money for what? Enough money for what? What are we shooting for here? That was one of them. I don't have enough money. For me, that was an excuse to why I couldn't start my business. I didn't have enough money, enough capital, enough money to where I thought I could lease space for my soul shack and buy all of the stuff that I needed to make it what I envision it to be. So I didn't start doing anything. This is where you can scale back a little bit, right? Like, you don't have enough money to buy the building to start your business, but what can you do today to start small? Where can you start saving? How much money do you need? Have you even figured that out yet? How much money do you really need? And can you start looking at your budget, looking at your incoming finances and your outgoing, and where can you shave off, and where can you start to save, and where can you scale back in this all or nothing mentality to just start somewhere small and let that grow little by little? So I don't have enough money. Debunked. Not true. Many people have started from zero. I don't know if you've ever seen that TV show. I forget what it was called. I apologize, but it was where they took people that were millionaires and billionaires and threw them out into places all over the United States and maybe all over the world. I only saw a couple episodes to where they were here. One was in Tacoma, where they had no money, no contacts. I think they were given like $100. I don't know. And they had to start and create a $1 million business within like 30 days or something crazy. And these people that I saw did. So we know that we can do it, right? But it's just a matter of being willing to look at things a little differently and challenge your beliefs. And that can get a little uncomfortable. I totally get it. So I don't have enough money. Nope, doesn't pass the sniff test. Not true. My health is stopping me. Stopping you from what? Stopping you from what? Answer that question. What is your health stopping you from doing? This one wasn't one of my excuses, one of my mind viruses, but I have many clients who believe this. So I'm just going to ask you this question. What is it that stops you and your health from doing the thing that you want to do? One person wanted to start dancing again, and their health prevented them from doing it because their weight was putting too much pressure on their knees. So their health was stopping them. Okay, so that might be the case, but what could they start doing today that's going to help them lose some of the weight to where they can get to the point where they can do it, right? Like, it's not stopping you forever. It might make things take a little longer because there's some work we need to do, but like I said, we have to get to the root cause of the symptom so that we can recover. So we really got to get truthful and honest with ourselves. What is it about the weight that you're holding on to that you're afraid to let go of? Many people that hold on to the weight, it's because they've been using it as their armor to make them feel comfortable. That they live in fear of being seen because they have been protected by the weight for so long. That if they lose it, they don't know what to do, who they will be. There's some deeper work there. That's why a lot of diets don't work. And then let's see, afraid of failure. Well, where are you today? When have you done something that you were afraid of and you came out the other side the winner? Or where have you done something that you were afraid of but you learned from it? Right? Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the pathway. No one became successful without failing. So what is it about the failure that is preventing you from moving forward? It's that fear. It's a thought that is making you feel an emotion, linking it to that thought, right? That's stopping you. So it's not fear of anything. It's the thing that you fear. Does that make sense? So failure you fear because maybe in your past you have dealt with it and seen it. We go back to that time when you failed and how that was and who you were and where have you learned from it. And start disassociating that emotion to that time and looking at you today. Not to mention, did you know, this is another fun fact, that the association that our brain has with anxiety and fear is the same as joy and happiness and excitement. It's just how we associate the experience to it. But our brain lights up the same way and produces some similar chemicals in our body as fear. So I don't know, you can play with it. Have some fun with that thought. So those were the top 5, and we went through all of them and we realized that it's not true. Right out of the gate, these excuses, these mind viruses, these things that we are saying are keeping us stuck are actually not true. And then the next question was, which I've kind of already gone over, is where did they come from? Where did these excuses come from? We go to that place. And then the other question that I loved, what's the payoff for thinking this thought? And this is where I kind of touched on the losing weight thing, right? The payoff of that thought, if I feel that it's my weight, my health, is that I can stay where I am. I can be comfortable right here. But are you comfortable? If you're feeling stuck and you've realized that it's cost you a relationship, it's cost you failing health, it's cost you energy, it's cost you fulfillment of life, it's cost you time with your family, it's cost you the ability to go out and do the things that you want to do, what is the payoff of thinking that thought? What's the payoff of thinking the thought that I'm too busy? How does that benefit you? And really, all of it again comes down to the mindset that it's comfortable. It's comfortable just to continue thinking this thought. But don't make a habit out of choosing what feels good over what is good for you. And also remember, the difference between a good habit and a bad habit is that a good habit is easy to break. The other question, what would my life look like if I couldn't think this thought? If you couldn't think the thought, I'm too busy, I'm too old, I don't have enough money, I'm not afraid of failure, your health. If you couldn't think those thoughts, if those thoughts didn't exist, what would your life look like? What would your life look like? I don't know if I prompted you guys to be writing these things out, but yeah, write these out. And then the other question is, can I create a rational reason to change? And I think if you look at your reasons to, or your answers to what your life would look like if you couldn't think this thought, there's your rational reason to change. And the final question, and this is something I talk about in the Embrace the Uncomfortable, is what's the one thing you can do today to work towards this? Now remember, we're not going to go for the all or nothing mentality. We're going to do the small things, the baby shifts. What is the one thing you can do today? So if we go back to the I'm too busy, I already gave an example. You can start maybe making lunches for the kiddos at night so that by the time morning comes, that's already done. Or maybe you let them start eating some school lunches. I do know that they're getting a little better, but if, maybe it's once or twice a week you let them do that. Maybe you know that you're going to be carving off some time on your lunch break. Maybe you're going to get up just a little earlier so you can get that 5 minutes in of meditation, making those small shifts. Maybe you start saying no to obligations that get presented to you and start saying yes to you. You can't give what you don't have. So if your answer is I'm too busy, we need to call BS, look at your day, write it out, block out time for you. You can't pour from an empty cup, right? If your question was I'm too old, what are some things that you can do today to help shift this mindset based off of your answers to what it is that stops you, right? We all have these things that we're trying to do and we're saying we can't do them because I'm too old. Do you need to go Google people that are your age that started doing the things that you want to do at that time, maybe that's what you need to do. Start seeing those people, getting to know them more, putting yourself in a different mindset. My health, same thing. Looking at some of the reasons that you're allowing your health to stop you, getting to the root cause of it, and working through it. If we're allowing our health to stop us from doing the thing that we want to do, what is the root cause behind it? What are we hiding from? What are we avoiding? What are we linking to a past experience? And if it's the weight thing, I've used an example there. And if you need help, as you guys know, you can always reach out to me. You can always email me. I can help work through these with you. And I'm actually going to be doing a deeper dive within course based off of this podcast, because what really started and sparked this podcast was a 21-day challenge that I did on Unstuck Yourself. I put together a free course. It's a 5-step method. I know what it is. Excuse me. I'm just trying to figure out how to explain this as best as I can. It's a 5-step method to unstuck yourself, and it's a 21-day challenge. And you do 5 things every day, 5 minutes each. So it is 25 minutes a day for 21 days and beyond, because I think once you start doing it, you're like, oh, this is awesome. So I started with that and got such a great response from people that I realized that there's a lot more to this that needs to be talked about, and we need to work through it together. And so I wanted to do a podcast on it. And then, of course, as I'm doing my research and pulling this data together, I'm realizing that we need to take a deeper dive into another course. So the first thing you could possibly do today is maybe sign up for the free 21-day challenge, Unstuck Yourself. And if you're saying, I don't have time, that's one of my mind viruses. I had a conversation with a client the other day where she was feeling stressed out because she had this all or nothing mentality and she couldn't commit 25 minutes a day. So she didn't do any of it. You know what I told her? Do a minute. A minute of each one. That's 5 minutes a day. Chances are you can squeeze in 5 minutes. And she was like, oh my God, I didn't think about that. I'm like, right. I mean, we should all over ourselves, and we make concessions all the time for ourselves so that we can be of service to others all the time. But if we're not happy and healthy and feeling fulfilled in our lives, what kind of person are we for the other people, right? Like, how are we serving our family and our employers, our loved ones, when we're showing up beaten, down and depressed and exhausted, frustrated, and angry? So when we can start taking these little shifts and going, okay, I'm not going to have an all or nothing mentality. I'm going to have I'm going to do something mentality. We start to shift a little differently. So I would suggest, strongly encourage, for anybody who hasn't already, who's listening to this podcast, go to the Soul Shack Sisters website, register for the free 21-day Unstuck Yourself challenge, give it a go, and see how you feel. There's a group on Facebook. It's a private group that you can also join. That's always fun. And I do every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I do a live through that Facebook group. And if you don't have Facebook, it's not on Facebook that I do the live. It's a Zoom link, and you'll get the link to it when you register. And we just show up for each other. And we talk about it. And we work through it. And what's happening with this 21-day challenge thing is it's starting to create an awareness and starting to spark some creativity and starts to create some shifts in our thinking and bring some stuff to the surface that we can work through, so that if you want to continue to grow through this, you can. You have something to show up with, right? You're like, okay, this is an area, this is my mind virus that I really need to work through. Whether that's with me or a friend or your therapist if you have one, or all of the above. We're all in this together. But these are the first ways to start unstucking ourselves, right? Is that we know that we have to move forward. And in order to move forward, we got to do some inner work, some inner healing work. And in the process, show up for ourselves and do the things like meditate, do yoga, do those things, journaling, gardening, flowering, painting, whatever it is that brings you joy and has you looking forward to things. Because I'll end with this: the more things that we have to look forward to, the more we look forward. So finding some things that bring you joy, bring you passion, and excite you, doing more of those things every day will give you reasons to look forward. And if you are having a hard time coming up with even something like that, then maybe mindset shift. Start trying to show up and be the person other people look forward to see. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I hope you got something out of it. I would love to hear from you and what you kind of came up with and where you're at. So feel free again, as always, to message me. You can always email me at Tanya@soulshacksisters.com. You can go to our website. You can check us out there. And of course, as always, Facebook, TikTok, all the places. I'm all over the place. I am there for you. I'm here for you. And I can't wait to see you again soon on the next podcast of the Soul Shack Sisters.